The security monitor flickers. Dominic Kade's hand stops mid-reach for the crystal glass. His eyes lock on the screen. The courtyard, his most protected space, the place where only blood or signed contracts allow entry, holds something impossible. A child. Small, black, female, maybe 10 years old, standing in front of his son, training him. Rowan's fists shake as he holds a defensive stance. Sweat darkens his collar. His legs tremble but stay planted. The girl circles him slowly, her braids tight against her scalp, her bare feet silent on the stone. "Breathe through your nose," she says. Her voice cuts through the speakers with unnerving calm. "Fear lives in your chest when you forget to breathe." Dominic's fingers curl against the mahogany desk. Armed guards patrol 20 feet away. None of them move. None of them stop her. His son. The boy who flinches at doors closing too hard, who freezes when voices rise, stands there taking instruction from a stranger. "Hi viewers, kindly tell us where you're watching from and what time it is." The girl adjusts Rowan's shoulders. "Drop them. Warriors don't carry tension where enemies can see it." Rowan obeys. Dominic's jaw tightens. In 32 years of controlling money, violence, and silence, he's never felt this. Powerless. Watching his own child through glass and cameras like a ghost in his own empire. The intercom crackles. Vaughn Cross's voice slides into the room like oil on water. "Sir, should I remove the girl?" Dominic doesn't answer. On screen, Rowan stumbles. His foot catches. He drops to one knee. The girl doesn't yell, doesn't mock. She kneels beside him, places her small hand on his shoulder, and waits until he looks at her. "You fell because you rushed," she says. "Warriors don't hit first. They stay standing." Something twists in Dominic's chest. No tutor has ever spoken to Rowan like that. No coach. No therapist. Not even him. "Sir." Vaughn's voice again, sharper now. "The girl doesn't belong here." Dominic's thumb hovers over the intercom button. One word, one command. She disappears. Forever. But Rowan stands again. Slower this time. His spine straightens. His chin lifts. For the first time in 8 years, Dominic sees his son look like he could hold his ground. The whiskey sits untouched. The glass reflects fractured light across the dark wood. Outside, California hills stretch into private silence. Inside, a man who makes governments hesitate watches a barefoot child teach his son something money never could. Control. Dominic leans forward. His reflection merges with the monitor. The girl steps back, giving Rowan space. She nods once. Again. Rowan resets his stance. Hands up, feet apart, breathing steady. The girl watches him like a sculptor studying stone. Vaughn's footsteps echo in the hallway. Heavy, deliberate. The door opens without knocking. He stands in the threshold. A man built from cold efficiency and cruelty disguised as loyalty. "She's the gardener's kid," Vaughn says. "Been hanging around the perimeter. I can have her removed in 5 minutes." Dominic doesn't turn. "How long has this been happening?" 3 weeks, maybe 4. "And you're telling me now?" Vaughn's silence stretches too long. On the monitor, Rowan holds his stance for 30 seconds. 40, 50. His arms shake but don't drop. The girl circles him once more, her expression unreadable. "Good," she says quietly. "Now you look like someone who can't be moved." Rowan exhales. His whole body sags with relief and something else. Pride. Dominic's throat constricts. Vaughn moves closer. "She could be anyone. Spying. Gathering information. You don't know what she wants. I know what she's doing." Dominic's voice comes out flat. "She's teaching my son to stand. That's not her job." "Then whose job is it?" The question hangs in the air like smoke. Vaughn's expression flattens into something colder. Professional. Dangerous in its stillness. "I'll handle it quietly," Vaughn says. "No." The word lands like a verdict. Vaughn's shoulders stiffen. In 5 years of service, Dominic has never refused him. "Sir." "I said no." Vaughn's jaw shifts. His eyes flick to the monitor, then back to Dominic. He nods once. Slow. Calculated. Understood. He leaves without another word. The door closes with a soft click that sounds like a warning. Dominic watches the monitor. The girl is speaking again, but the audio cuts out. Technical glitch. Convenient timing. He leans forward, adjusts the controls. Static hisses through the speakers. When the sound returns, Rowan is asking a question. What if I can't stay standing? The girl tilts her head. Then you get back up. That's the only rule that matters. Dominic's hand finally closes around the whiskey glass. He lifts it, stares into the amber liquid, sets it down without drinking. The girl taps Rowan's chest lightly. Your father watches you through cameras. Did you know that? Rowan's eyes widen. He looks around, searching for the lenses. Don't look for them, the girl says. Just know he sees you, so stand like someone's always watching. Because they are. Dominic's breath catches. She knows. This child, who supposedly wandered in by accident, who lives beyond the estate walls in some forgotten corner of the service quarters, knows about the cameras, knows about the surveillance, knows he's watching, and she doesn't care. She trains his son anyway. The monitor flickers again. For 3 seconds, the screen goes black. When it returns, the courtyard is empty. The girl is gone. Rowan stands alone, still holding his stance, breathing steady through his nose. Dominic rises from his chair. The office suddenly feels too small. He moves to the window. Below, the estate spreads out like a kingdom of glass and stone. Manicured lawns, armed patrols, walls that keep the world out and secrets in. Somewhere beyond those walls, a girl with nothing walks home. And somewhere in this house, his son is learning to be someone Dominic doesn't recognize. His phone vibrates. A text from Vaughn. She won't be a problem much longer. Dominic stares at the message. His thumb hovers over the delete button, but he doesn't press it, because for the first time in years, he doesn't know what the right answer is. What do you think Dominic should do? Protect his son's newfound courage, or eliminate the threat before it's too late? Dominic built his empire on 3 principles: silence, speed, and the certainty that fear works. The first man who ever threatened him disappeared into a shipping container bound for Panama. The second learned that banks stop asking questions when enough money moves through the right channels. The third simply stopped existing. No headlines, no investigations, just silence. Money obeyed him because violence stood behind it. Governments hesitated because his reach extended past borders. Men who called themselves untouchable knelt when his name appeared in their phones. But none of that mattered at 3 in the morning when he stood in the glass corridor watching his son sleep. Rowan's room glows blue from the nightlight he refuses to admit he needs. His small body curls under blankets printed with constellations. 8 years old, 47 pounds. Afraid of raised voices and unexpected movement. Dominic presses his palm against the glass. Cold seeps through his skin. 5 tutors quit in 18 months. The last one called Rowan unteachable. A therapist suggested boarding school. A private coach recommended medication. Another said the boy just needed time. Time didn't help. Rowan still flinched when doors opened too fast. Still froze when other children shouted. Still looked at his father like he was staring at a stranger who might explode. Dominic told himself it didn't matter. That weakness could be trained out. That fear was temporary. But watching his son shrink at a birthday party when another boy grabbed his wrist. Watching Rowan go completely still while the other kid laughed. Something cracked in Dominic's chest that money couldn't fix. He hired specialists, paid for the best, flew in experts from Switzerland, Tokyo, Cape Town. They all said the same thing in different words. Rowan needed to feel safe. Safe. In a house with armed guards and bulletproof glass and panic rooms hidden behind false walls. The boy lived in a fortress and still woke up scared. Dominic drains the whiskey, pours another, doesn't drink it. The California hills outside his window hide families that smile for cameras and bury secrets in legal trusts. Neighbors who wave at charity galas and never ask what he actually does. Politicians who shake his hand and cash his checks and pretend not to know where the money comes from. He owns 17 properties across 4 countries. Controls distribution networks that move everything from tech patents to offshore accounts. His signature on a contract can make a company's stock triple or a competitor's CEO retire early, but he can't make his son look him in the eye without fear. The monitor in his study shows 4 camera angles. Rowan's room, the courtyard, the main gate, the eastern perimeter. He cycles through them every night. Same ritual, same result. Nothing changes. Until 3 weeks ago, the courtyard camera caught movement at dawn. A small figure slipping through a gap in the hedge line. Dark skin, braided hair, bare feet on stone. Dominic watched her pause at the fountain. She cupped water in her hands, drank, looked around like she was memorizing exits. Then Rowan appeared, not running, not hiding, walking. The girl straightened, didn't speak, just watched him approach. Rowan stopped 3 feet away, his hands twisted together, his voice too quiet for the microphone to catch. The girl tilted her head, said something short. Rowan nodded. She gestured to the open space near the training posts, equipment installed by the 4th coach, the one who lasted 6 days before declaring the job impossible. The girl moved through a basic stance. Slow. Deliberate. Rowan watched. She repeated it. He copied her. She corrected his feet, his hands, his breathing. He tried again. She nodded. Dominic watched for 40 minutes. Never moved. Never called security. Just watched his son follow instructions from a child who had no right to be there. When Rowan finally went inside for breakfast, the girl slipped back through the hedge and disappeared. She returned the next morning, and the next, and the next. Dominic never stopped her. He told himself it was temporary, that he'd intervene when it became a problem, that he was just observing. But the truth sat heavier. His son stood taller after 20 minutes with a stranger than after 2 years of expensive professionals. Now Dominic stands in his office surrounded by leather and dark wood and silence that money bought. His phone shows 32 missed calls. Business that can't wait. Deals that need signatures. Problems requiring solutions only he can provide. He ignores all of it. On the desk sits a folder. Plain manila. No label. Inside, background on the gardener. Employment history. Immigration status. Credit report. Medical records. And one photo of a girl. 10 years old. Name, Nielle Brooks. Lives in a trailer park 6 miles past the estate's southern border. Grandmother's custody. Mother deceased. Cause of death. Warehouse fire. Ruled accidental. No investigation. The date jumps out. 7 years ago. August 14th. Dominic's hands go still. August 14th. The Riverside warehouse. The accident that let him acquire the property for cents on the dollar. The expansion that funded his first offshore account. The beginning of everything. His throat tightens. He flips through the rest. School records. Attendance good. Grades average. No behavioral incidents. Teacher notes. Quiet. Keeps to herself. Mature beyond her years. Underneath, a handwritten line from someone in his security team. No obvious angles. Appears harmless. Dominic closes the folder. Appears harmless. The same phrase used about the man who tried to kill him in Prague. About the accountant who stole $3 million before disappearing. About the lawyer who wore a wire for 18 months. No one is harmless. But this girl, this child with nothing, walks into his fortress and teaches his son courage. And his son listens. Rowan's voice echoes from the monitor. Morning. The courtyard. The girl is already there. Can you show me that move again? Rowan asks, his voice steadier than Dominic's ever heard it. The girl demonstrates. Rowan copies. Gets it wrong. Tries again. Gets closer. Better, she says. Now hold it for 60 seconds. Rowan's legs shake at 40. He grits his teeth. Makes it to 55 before dropping. 55 is good, the girl says. Tomorrow you'll hit 60. How do you know? Because you didn't quit. Rowan looks at her like she just handed him something valuable. Dominic's chest aches. When was the last time he told his son something was good? When was the last time he noticed improvement instead of failure? When was the last time he knelt down and looked Rowan in the eye and said anything that mattered? The whiskey glass is empty again. He doesn't remember drinking it. His phone buzzes. Vaughn, security review at noon. We should discuss the perimeter breach. Perimeter breach. That's what they're calling her now. Dominic types. Postpone. 3 dots appear. Disappear. Appear again. Understood. The cursor blinks on the screen. Waiting. Demanding response. Dominic sets the phone face down. On the monitor, Rowan asks another question. Why do you help me? The girl pauses. Looks away. Because nobody helped me. Rowan goes quiet. Processing. Do you know who my dad is? He asks. No. He's really powerful. People are scared of him. Are you scared of him? Rowan's silence answers. The girl adjusts his stance. Fear's not the problem. Freezing is. You can be scared and still move. That's what warriors do. Dominic leans forward. His reflection merges with the screen again. 2 faces. 2 versions of control. One built on fear. One teaching his son something different. The morning light shifts. Golden now. Expensive. The kind of light that exists only in places where money keeps nature manicured. Rowan holds his stance. Breathing controlled. Eyes focused. For 90 seconds straight. The girl smiles. Small. Genuine. See? I told you. And Rowan smiles back. Dominic hasn't seen his son smile in 6 months. His hand moves to the intercom. He could call security. End this. Restore order. Protect what he's built. His finger hovers over the button, but he doesn't press it, because the truth is sharp and cutting and impossible to ignore. The girl is doing what he couldn't. She's teaching his son to stand, and Dominic doesn't know if that makes her the answer or the threat. What would you do if a stranger gave your child something you couldn't? Would you be grateful or afraid? The trailer smells like fried okra and lavender soap. Nielle Brooks wipes sweat from her forehead with the back of her hand. The morning sun cuts through gaps in the aluminum siding, throwing lines of light across the cramped space. Outside, gravel crunches under tires as someone's car dies again. 3rd time this week. Her grandmother's voice drifts from the kitchenette. You eat before you leave? Yes, ma'am. Don't lie to me, child. Nielle's stomach growls. She grabs a cold biscuit from the plate on the counter, tears it in half, chews while pulling on her shoes. The left one has a split sole. She presses it together, hopes it holds. Were you going this early? Her grandmother doesn't look up from the sink. Her hands move through dishwater, scrubbing the same pan she scrubbed yesterday and the day before. Hands that cleaned other people's houses for 40 years. Hands that shake now when she thinks no one's watching. Just walking. 6 miles is a long walk. Nielle freezes. The biscuit turns to paste in her mouth. Her grandmother finally turns, looks at her, really looks. Her eyes hold something between worry and knowing. You think I don't notice you leaving before sunrise? Coming back with dirt on your knees? I'm not doing anything bad. Didn't say you were. Her grandmother dries her hands on a towel worn thin from use. But that estate isn't a place for us. You understand. I'm just helping someone. I know. Her grandmother sits heavily in the chair that groans under minimal weight. You got your mother's heart, always wanting to fix what's broken. Nielle's throat tightens. They don't talk about her mother. Not directly. Not in ways that open wounds still raw after 7 years. The boy needs help, Nielle says quietly. And his people got money for that. They don't need you. Money doesn't fix everything. Her grandmother's laugh comes out bitter. No, but it sure makes problems easier to solve. Nielle adjusts her backpack. It holds nothing important. Just a water bottle and the notebook where she writes things down. Movements, techniques, things her mother taught her before the fire. I'll be back before noon, she says. Nielle, She stops at the door. Whatever you're doing, be careful. People with power don't like being reminded they can't buy everything. The words follow her out into the heat. The walk to the estate takes 90 minutes if she moves fast. Through the trailer park where dogs bark at nothing and laundry hangs on lines strung between homes. Past the bodega with bars on the windows and the church with the crooked cross. Along the highway where trucks blast past throwing dust in her face. Then the landscape changes. Grass gets greener. Houses get bigger. Walls get taller. She cuts through the drainage culvert on the east side. The gap in the chain link stays hidden by overgrown bushes. She discovered it 2 months ago chasing a dog that ran off from the trailer park. That's when she first saw the estate. Glass and stone rising out of manicured hills like something from a movie. Guards walking patrol routes. Cameras sweeping predetermined arcs. And in the courtyard, a small boy trying to hold a training stance while a man in an expensive suit yelled at him to stop shaking. The boy collapsed. The man called him useless. Walked away. The boy sat there for 20 minutes. Alone. Crying where no one could see. Niel recognized that feeling. Knew what it looked like when fear lived so deep it felt permanent. So she came back the next morning. And the morning after. Now she knows his routine. Rowan, 8 years old. Scared of everything including his own shadow. But trying. Always trying. She slips through the hedge line at dawn. The courtyard is empty except for birds picking through dew-wet grass. The training posts stand unused. Expensive equipment gathering dust. Footsteps on stone. Rowan appears from the main house. Still in pajamas. Hair uncombed. Eyes puffy from sleep. He sees her and stops. They don't hug. Don't wave. Just acknowledge each other like soldiers meeting at a post. You ready? She asks. He nods. They move to the open space. She demonstrates the stance she taught him yesterday. He copies it. His feet are wrong. She adjusts them. His hands drop too low. She corrects them. Breathe, she says. In through your nose. Out through your mouth. He tries. Gets it halfway right. Better, she says. Now hold it. His legs shake at 30 seconds. She doesn't tell him to stop. Doesn't lower the bar. Just stands there watching while he fights his own body. At 55 seconds, he collapses. 55 is good, she says. Tomorrow you'll hit 60. How do you know? Because you didn't quit. He looks at her like she just performed magic. She's not magic. She's just a girl who learned that survival means standing when everything in you wants to run. Her mother taught her that. In the apartment before the warehouse. During the months when men came around and her mother put Niel in the closet and told her to stay quiet no matter what she heard. Why do you help me? Rowan asks suddenly. The question catches her off guard. She looks away. At the fountain. At the hedge line. Anywhere but his face. Because nobody helped me, she says finally. Rowan goes quiet. Processing something too big for his age. Do you know who my dad is? He asks. No. He's really powerful. People are scared of him. She adjusts his stance. Keeps her voice level. Are you scared of him? Rowan doesn't answer. The silence tells her everything. Fear's not the problem, she says. Freezing is. You can be scared and still move. That's what warriors do. She doesn't know where the word came from. Warrior. Her mother used to say it. Used to tell Niel that surviving makes you a warrior even if you never throw a punch. Rowan tries the stance again. This time he holds it for 90 seconds. When he finishes, he's smiling. See, Niel says. I told you. They work for another hour. Basic movements. Breathing exercises. Nothing fancy. Nothing that would look impressive to someone watching. But Rowan stands taller when they finish. Walks back to the house with his shoulders square instead of hunched. Niel slips back through the hedge line as the sun climbs higher. The walk home feels longer. Her legs ache. The split in her shoe widens. She stops at the culvert and drinks water from the bottle, rationing it for the rest of the trip. A car slows beside her. Black, expensive, tinted windows. Her hand tightens on the water bottle. The window rolls down. A man leans out, white, older, eyes like glass. "You lost." "No, sir. This isn't a neighborhood for walking. I'm heading home." His smile doesn't reach his eyes. "Where's home?" She gestures vaguely toward the trailer park. 6 miles still to go. Sweat already soaking through her shirt. "Long walk," he says. "Want a ride?" Everything her grandmother ever taught her screams no. "I'm good. Thank you." The man's smile fades. He studies her face like he's memorizing it. "You look familiar. You work around here." "No, sir. Your people work around here?" "My grandmother cleans houses." "Which houses?" Nielle's pulse hammers. "Different ones." The man nods slowly. Doesn't believe her. Doesn't care. "You be careful out here. Dangerous for a girl alone." The window rolls up. The car drives away. Slow, deliberate, making sure she sees him watching in the rearview mirror. Nielle waits until he's gone before moving. Her hands shake. She grips the water bottle tighter to stop it. At the trailer, her grandmother is asleep in the chair. The TV plays a judge show on mute. Bills spread across the coffee table. Red stamps on half of them. Nielle covers her with a blanket, clears the table quietly, hides the bills in the drawer where they pretend they don't exist. In her room, the converted storage space with walls so thin she hears everything. She opens the notebook, writes down what Rowan learned today, what he needs to work on tomorrow. At the bottom, she writes something else. Black car, white man, glass eyes. She doesn't know why she writes it, just knows it feels important. Outside, someone's car finally starts. Dogs bark. A siren wails in the distance. Normal sounds, safe sounds. But Nielle can't shake the feeling that something changed today, that someone noticed her. And in her grandmother's world, in the world beyond the estate walls, being noticed is never good. Do you think Nielle should stop going to the estate, or is helping Rowan worth the risk? Von Cross doesn't raise his voice. He learned early that silence works better than shouting, that a quiet man makes people nervous in ways a loud one never can. That control comes from watching people convince themselves they're in danger. He built his career on it. Started as private security for a tech CEO in San Jose. Lasted 6 months before the CEO disappeared into federal custody, and Vaughn walked away with clean hands and offshore accounts no one could trace. Moved to executive protection. Kept a senator's son out of headlines when the kid put someone in the hospital. Made the problem disappear so completely that even the victim forgot what happened. Then Dominic Kade called. 5 years ago. 3-sentence conversation. "I need someone who understands silence. Someone who solves problems before they become problems. Someone who doesn't ask questions." Vaughn took the job. Now he stands in the security office watching monitors cycle through camera feeds. The courtyard, the gates, the perimeter. 37 cameras covering every angle of the estate. Except one. The gap in the hedge line on the eastern perimeter. 8 feet wide, hidden by overgrown bushes. The landscape crew missed it during the last trim. Vaughn noticed 3 weeks ago. He didn't fix it, because that gap is how the girl gets in. And Vaughn wants to know why. On the monitor, she's there again, training the boy, moving through stances that look almost military, teaching breathing techniques that shouldn't exist in a 10-year-old's vocabulary. He zooms in. Her feet are bare, her clothes worn, but her movements are precise, controlled, learned. Someone taught her. The question is who, and what they want with Dominic Kade's son. Vaughn pulls up her file. Nielle Brooks, age 10. Lives with grandmother, Lorraine Brooks. Mother deceased, warehouse fire, no investigation. He clicks deeper. School records, medical history, court documents from the custody transfer after the mother died. Something catches his eye. A name buried in the fire report. Building owner, KVR Holdings. Vaughn cross-references it. 3 shell companies later, the trail leads back to Dominic. He sits back, processes. The girl's mother died in a building Dominic owned. The fire that let him acquire the property and expand his network. The accident that became opportunity. And now the daughter trains his son. Coincidence doesn't exist in Vaughn's world. He opens a new window, runs background on the grandmother. Employment history shows house cleaning for various clients in Silvercrest. One name jumps out: Chun family, 3 miles south of the estate. The Chun family, who hosted a charity gala last year where Dominic made an appearance. Where business deals happened in private rooms while cameras stayed focused on the ballroom. Vaughn's jaw tightens. The girl isn't random. She's connected. Maybe not directly, maybe not intentionally, but connected, which means she's either a threat or an opportunity. He needs to determine which. The monitor shows Rowan falling, the girl helping him up, her hand on his shoulder, her voice too quiet for the microphone. Rowan tries again, gets it right this time. The girl smiles. Vaughn zooms in on her face, studies the expression. Genuine, unguarded, the kind of smile that doesn't calculate advantage, which makes her either innocent or very, very good at lying. His phone buzzes. A text from Dominic. Postpone the security review. Vaughn stares at the message. In 5 years, Dominic has never postponed a security review, never delayed anything related to his son's protection. He replies, understood, but he doesn't understand. Doesn't understand why Dominic allows the breach to continue, why he watches the girl instead of removing her, why he hesitates. Hesitation gets people killed. Vaughn learned that in San Jose, watching his first employer hesitate before signing the wrong document, watching federal agents walk through doors that should have stayed closed, watching power dissolve because someone waited too long to act. He won't let that happen here. He switches camera angles. The girl is leaving, slipping back through the hedge line. Rowan watches her go, stands there alone looking stronger than he did an hour ago. Vaughn picks up his phone, dials a number he keeps off the record. It rings twice. Yeah, the voice is gravel and cigarettes. I need a follow. How close? Close enough to know where she goes. Not close enough for her to notice. Target description? Black female, 10 years old, barefoot, heading east from the estate. Pause. You want me to follow a kid? I want you to find out who she talks to, where she lives, who she sees. I want a pattern. When? She's walking now. The line clicks off. Vaughn returns his attention to the monitors. Rowan is back inside. The courtyard empty. The hedge line still. Everything appears normal. But normal is a lie people tell themselves before everything breaks. He opens the file again, studies the photo of the girl. Her eyes, clear, direct, holding something that looks like determination mixed with survival. He's seen that look before, in soldiers, in criminals, in people who learned early that the world doesn't offer safety. People like that are dangerous, not because they're violent, because they have nothing to lose. And people with nothing to lose make unpredictable choices. His computer pings. An email from the contact. Already, that was fast. Subject line, initial report. Vaughn opens it. 3 photos. The girl walking along the highway. The girl stopping at a drainage culvert. The girl disappearing into the trailer park 6 miles south. Timestamp shows 10 minutes ago. The email continues. Target entered Unit 47. Name on lease, Lorraine Brooks. Checking background now. Vaughn closes the email, pulls up property records for the trailer park. The place is 1 step above condemned. Violations for electrical issues, complaints about plumbing. Ownership traced back to a management company that doesn't return calls. The kind of place people end up when everywhere else said no. He maps the distance. 6 miles. On foot, twice a day, for 3 weeks, 12 miles daily, in heat, in worn shoes, to train a boy she has no connection to, unless she does have a connection, unless someone sent her. His phone rings. Dominic. I'm reviewing the eastern perimeter footage, Dominic says without preamble. I see the gap. Yes, sir. Landscape crew missed it during the last maintenance. Fix it. Pause. When? Now. Vaughn's fingers tighten on the phone. That will prevent the girl from entering. I know. The line goes quiet. Vaughn waits. Dominic doesn't explain, doesn't justify, just ends the call. Vaughn sets the phone down slowly. Something shifted. He doesn't know what, but Dominic's tone carried something unfamiliar. Uncertainty, doubt, weakness. He pulls up the maintenance schedule. Adds the hedge line to the priority list. The crew can handle it this afternoon. By tomorrow morning, the gap will be sealed. Problem solved. But it doesn't feel solved. Feels like the wrong move. Like Dominic is reacting to fear instead of strategy. Like emotion is entering decisions where only logic should exist. And emotion in this world is a death sentence. Vaughn switches to the courtyard camera. Records the last hour of footage. Saves it to an encrypted drive. Backs it up twice. Evidence. Insurance. Protection against the day when Dominic realizes he made a mistake trusting anyone except himself. On screen, Rowan appears again. Alone this time, trying to recreate the stance the girl showed him. His form is wrong. His breathing rushed. But he keeps trying. Vaughn watches for 5 minutes. The boy falls. Gets up. Falls again. Gets up again. Determination. Just like the girl. Maybe that's what Dominic sees. His son finally showing backbone. Finally looking like he might survive the world his father built. Or maybe Dominic sees something else. Something Vaughn doesn't understand yet. Either way, the girl is a variable. Variables need to be controlled. And if they can't be controlled, they need to be removed. Vaughn opens a new file. Starts documenting everything. Times, dates, patterns, connections. Building a case. Not for now, but for later, when Dominic's hesitation costs them something they can't recover. Because in Vaughn's experience, sentiment always has a price, and someone always ends up paying it. He just needs to make sure it isn't him. His phone buzzes. The contact again. Background complete. Sending full report. Red flags noted. Vaughn opens the attachment. Reads quickly. 3 pages of employment history, financial records, medical reports. Then the red flags. Subject's mother, Keisha Brooks, died in warehouse fire, property owned by KVR Holdings. No investigation. Case closed in 48 hours. Subject was 3 at the time. Grandmother took custody. Multiple complaints filed against the management company regarding the warehouse. All complaints dismissed. Suspicious activity. Grandmother stopped working for Chun family 6 months after the fire. No explanation noted in termination documents. Vaughn reads the last line twice. The grandmother worked for a family connected to Dominic's network. Then stopped suddenly. Around the time the warehouse case closed, the pieces arranged themselves into a pattern he doesn't like. The girl isn't random. She's a consequence. The kind that comes back years later when you think the past is buried deep enough that it can't breathe. He closes the file, deletes the email, erases the backup. Then he makes a call. Different number, different contact. This one doesn't ask questions. I need a conversation, Vaughn says. Quiet, off property. Today. With who? A grandmother. Name's Lorraine Brooks. She cleans houses. I want to know what she knows. About a fire 7 years ago. And if she doesn't want to talk, make her want to. The line clicks off. Vaughn returns to the monitors. The courtyard is empty now. Rowan inside. The girl gone. The estate quiet. But quiet doesn't mean safe. It just means the threat hasn't revealed itself yet. And Vaughn has learned the hard way that the most dangerous threats are the ones you don't eliminate fast enough. What do you think Vaughn will do when he discovers the truth about the fire? Will he protect Dominic or use it against him? Rowan Kade doesn't remember the first time he felt afraid. It's always been there. In the walls, in the silence, in the way people's voices change when his father enters a room. Fear lives in the space between what's said and what's understood. He's 8 years old. Knows 3 languages, can multiply 4-digit numbers in his head, understands that the men who visit his father aren't businessmen no matter what anyone calls them. But he doesn't know how to stop his hands from shaking when doors open too fast. Until Niel. She doesn't teach him to fight. She teaches him to stand. And for the first time in his life, standing feels possible. This morning, he's alone in the courtyard. The sun barely up. The guards changing shifts at the east gate. The house still asleep behind him. He moves into the stance she showed him. Feet apart, knees bent, hands up but not tight, breathing through his nose. The first 30 seconds are easy. His body remembers. Muscle memory from 3 weeks of repetition. At 45 seconds, his legs start to burn. At 60, they shake. He doesn't stop. 70 seconds. 80. 90. He thinks about what Niel said. Warriors don't hit first. They stay standing. 2 minutes, his vision blurs. His thighs scream. His breath comes in gasps. But he doesn't drop. 2 minutes, 15 seconds. 2:30. 2:45. When he finally collapses, he's smiling. He did it. Alone. Without help. Without someone correcting his form or telling him when to quit. He did it because he chose to. The realization hits him like cold water. This feeling, this burning in his legs and chest, isn't weakness. It's proof he tried. Proof he didn't freeze. Proof he's stronger than yesterday. Footsteps on stone. He scrambles to his feet. Defensive. Automatic. His father stands 10 feet away. Rowan's breath catches. He doesn't know how long his father's been watching. Doesn't know if he's in trouble. Doesn't know what expression to wear. So he just stands there, waiting. Dominic doesn't speak. Just looks at him. Really looks. Not the quick glance before heading to work. Not the distracted nod during dinner. Actually looking. How long have you been out here? Dominic asks. Since sunrise. Rowan's voice comes out steadier than expected. Alone. Yes, sir. His father's jaw tightens. Something flickers across his face. Too fast to read. Show me, Dominic says. Rowan's heart hammers. Show you what? What you've been learning. The courtyard suddenly feels smaller. The air thinner. This is his father. The man who makes people disappear with a phone call. Who controls things Rowan doesn't understand. Who built walls around them so high the outside world feels like a memory. But Niel's voice echoes in his head. You can be scared and still move. Rowan resets his stance. Feet apart, knees bent, hands up, breathing controlled. His father watches in silence. Rowan holds it. 30 seconds. 60. 90. His legs burn. His arms shake. But he doesn't drop. 2 minutes. 2:30. 3. When he finally stops, his father's expression hasn't changed. No approval. No criticism. Just observation. Who taught you that? Dominic asks. The question lands like a trap. Rowan knows he should lie. Knows admitting the truth means Niel might disappear. Knows his father doesn't allow strangers near him. But lying feels wrong. Feels like betraying the only person who ever made him feel capable. A girl, he says quietly. She comes in the morning. To help me. I know. Rowan's breath stops. You know? I've been watching. The words rearrange everything. His father knew. This whole time. Watched on cameras. Could have stopped it. Didn't. Are you going to make her leave? Rowan asks. His father's pause stretches too long. I don't know. It's the most honest thing his father's ever said to him. They stand there, father and son, separated by 10 feet and a lifetime of silence. The morning light turns the glass walls gold. Birds land on the fountain. Somewhere in the house, someone starts coffee. Why does she help you? Dominic asks. I don't know. I asked her once. She said because nobody helped her. His father's expression cracks. Just for a second. Something raw underneath. Then it's gone. Locked away behind the control Rowan knows so well. Do you want her to keep coming? Dominic asks. Rowan's throat tightens. This is the moment. The choice. Safety means saying no. Saying he doesn't need help. Returning to tutors and coaches and therapists who get paid to fix him. But Niel doesn't try to fix him. She just teaches him to stand. Yes, Rowan says. I want her to keep coming. His father nods once. Slow, heavy, like the decision costs something. Then she can stay, Dominic says. For now. Relief floods through Rowan so fast he almost cries. He swallows it back. Warriors don't cry. They stay standing. Thank you, he says. His father looks at him. Really looks. And for the first time Rowan can remember, his father's eyes hold something other than distance. You're stronger than you think, Dominic says quietly. I should have told you that before. The words hit harder than any punch. Rowan's vision blurs. He blinks fast, keeps his breathing steady. His father turns to leave. Stops, looks back. The stance, Dominic says. It's good. Keep practicing. Then he's gone. Back into the house. Back into the world of phones and meetings and men who whisper when he walks past. Rowan stands alone in the courtyard. The sun higher now. The day starting. Everything the same as yesterday. Except it's not the same. Because his father saw him. Really saw him. And didn't look disappointed. He moves back into the stance. Holds it until his legs give out. Resets. Holds it again. When Nielle arrives an hour later, she finds him sweating through his third set. You started without me, she says. Yeah. He grins. I held it for 3 minutes. Her eyebrows raise. 3 minutes. 3 minutes, 12 seconds. She studies him. Sees something different. What happened? My dad watched me train. Her expression shifts. Cautious. And he said I'm stronger than I think. Nielle goes quiet. Processing. Calculating something Rowan doesn't understand. That's good, she says finally. That's really good. They train for another hour. She pushes him harder than usual. Adds new movements. Tests his balance. His breathing. His focus. He keeps up. Barely, but keeps up. When they finish, she doesn't leave immediately. Just stands there looking at the house. At the cameras. At the world Rowan lives in. Your dad, she says. He really is powerful, huh? Yeah. Does that scare you? Rowan thinks about it. About the guards. The walls. The phones that never stop ringing. The men who visit and leave looking smaller than when they arrived. Sometimes, he admits. But not as much as it used to. Why not? Because you taught me I don't have to freeze. Nielle looks at him. Her eyes hold something sad and proud at the same time. You're going to be okay, Rowan, she says. No matter what happens, you're going to be okay. The words feel like goodbye. Are you leaving? He asks. No, not yet. But you think you might have to? She doesn't answer, just adjusts his stance one more time. Makes sure his feet are right, his breathing controlled. Remember, she says, warriors stay standing, even when everything tells them to run. Then she slips back through the hedge line and disappears. Rowan watches her go. Knows something changed today. Knows his father's permission came with conditions. Knows nothing good lasts forever in this house. But for right now, for this moment, he's standing taller than he ever has. And that has to be enough. What do you think will happen now that Dominic has given his permission? Will Nielle be safe? Or has everything just become more dangerous? The shove comes without warning. Rowan's back hits the stone wall. Air punches out of his lungs. 3 boys crowd him, all older, all sons of men who shake his father's hand at private events. Marcus Chen leads them, 13 years old, twice Rowan's size. His father owns pharmaceutical distribution across the West Coast. Look who thinks he's tough now, Marcus says. His breath smells like energy drinks and entitlement. Heard you've been training. Let's see it. Rowan's hands come up, defensive, not aggressive. The stance Nielle taught him. Feet apart, breathing controlled. Marcus laughs. You serious right now? The other 2 circle, blocking exits. This isn't the first time. Won't be the last. Sons of powerful men testing the son of the most powerful man. Seeing if fear runs in the blood. Usually Rowan freezes. Waits for it to end. Takes whatever comes. Not today. Back up, he says. Voice steady. Not loud. just clear. Marcus's smile fades. What did you say? I said back up. The courtyard goes quiet. Birds stop singing. Wind stops moving. Even the fountain sounds muted. Marcus moves fast, grabs Rowan's collar, slams him against the wall again. You don't tell me what to do. Rowan's vision blurs. His ribs scream, but his feet stay planted. His hands stay up. He doesn't fight back, doesn't swing, just holds his ground. Let him go. The voice cuts through the tension like a blade. Nielle stands 10 feet away, arms at her sides, face calm, but her eyes hold something that makes Marcus pause. Who the hell are you? Marcus asks. Doesn't matter. Let him go. Marcus laughs, looks at his friends. They laugh too, forced, nervous. Or what? Marcus says. What are you going to do? Nielle doesn't answer, just walks forward. Slow, deliberate, her bare feet silent on stone. She stops 3 feet from Marcus, looks up at him. He's got 5 inches and 60 pounds on her. She doesn't flinch. Last chance, she says. Let him go. Marcus shoves Rowan aside. Rowan stumbles but doesn't fall, catches himself, stays standing. Marcus turns to Nielle. You don't belong here. This is private property. I know. Then leave. After you do. Marcus's face darkens. His hand moves, fast, reaching for her shoulder. Nielle reacts. Not a punch, not a strike, just a defensive movement, redirecting his momentum, using his weight against him. Marcus's feet tangle. He goes down, hard. The sound of his body hitting stone echoes off the glass walls. The other 2 boys freeze, stare at Marcus, then at Nielle, then at each other. Alarms blare. Security floods the courtyard. 6 guards, tactical gear, radios crackling with codes Rowan doesn't understand. They grab Nielle, rough, professional. Her arms twist behind her back. Wait, Rowan shouts. She didn't. A guard pushes him back. Stay out of this. Marcus climbs to his feet, blood on his lip, rage in his eyes. She attacked me. You all saw it. The guards look at each other, at Marcus, Nielle, at the cameras recording everything. One speaks into his radio. We have an incident in the main courtyard. Subject in custody. Requesting immediate response from Mr. Cross. Nielle doesn't struggle, doesn't cry, just stands there with her arms twisted behind her back. Breathing steady, eyes forward. Rowan tries to reach her. A guard blocks him. She was helping me, Rowan screams. He grabbed her first. Kid, stay back. Call my father. Call him right now. The guard's radio crackles. Vaughn's voice comes through cold and precise. Bring the girl to holding. I'm on my way. They drag Nielle toward the house. She looks back once, catches Rowan's eyes. Her expression says everything. Stay standing. Then she's gone. Through the doors. Into the house where Rowan isn't allowed to follow. Marcus wipes blood from his mouth. Smiles. Guess she won't be coming back. Rowan's hands ball into fists. His whole body shakes. Not from fear. From rage. From helplessness. The guards disperse. The other boys leave. The courtyard empties. Rowan stands alone. The morning sun too bright. The walls too close. Everything wrong. He runs inside. Through corridors he's not supposed to use. Past rooms he's not supposed to enter. Staff step aside. No one stops him. He finds his father's office. Bursts through the door without knocking. Dominic sits at his desk. Phone pressed to his ear. He looks up. Sees Rowan's face. Ends the call immediately. What happened? They took her. The words come out too fast, choking him. Marcus pushed me and she helped and they took her and Vaughn. Slow down. She didn't do anything wrong. She was protecting me. Dominic stands, moves around the desk, kneels to Rowan's level. The first time in years. Tell me exactly what happened. Rowan does. Every detail. Marcus, the shove, Nielle's intervention, the defensive move, the fall, the alarms. Dominic's jaw tightens with each sentence. When Rowan finishes, his father stands, pulls out his phone, dials. "I want the courtyard footage," Dominic says. "Unedited, every angle, on my screen in 5 minutes." He ends the call, looks at Rowan. "Go to your room." "But now," the word comes out sharp, final, the tone that ends arguments. Rowan's throat closes. He turns to leave. "Rowan," he stops. "The girl," Dominic says quietly. "Her name is Niel?" "Yes, sir." His father nods once. Something crosses his face. Recognition, regret, realization. "Go to your room," Dominic repeats, softer this time. "I'll handle this." Rowan leaves, walks through corridors that suddenly feel like a maze. Every turn looks the same. Every door hides secrets. In his room, he presses his ear against the wall, listens, hears nothing but his own heartbeat hammering. Minutes pass, 10, 20, 30, then footsteps. Vaughn's voice outside the door. The Chin family is demanding answers. Marcus is claiming assault. His father's response is muffled, too quiet to hear. "She's a liability," Vaughn says louder. "This is exactly what I warned you about." More muffled words. "Sir, with respect, sentiment is clouding your judgment. The girl needs to be removed. Permanently." Silence. Long, heavy, crushing. Then his father's voice. Clear, cold, unmistakable. "Get me the footage." Rowan slides down the wall. Sits on the floor, knees pulled to his chest, breathing through his nose like Niel taught him. Warriors stay standing. But right now he can't stand, can't move, can't do anything but wait while people decide Niel's fate in rooms he can't access. The afternoon sun shifts. Shadows stretch across his floor. His phone buzzes. A text from a blocked number. "Your friend made a mistake. People like her always do." Rowan throws the phone across the room. It hits the wall. Screen cracks. The message stays. Somewhere in this house, Niel sits in a room with no windows, waiting, alone, because she chose to protect him, and Rowan can't do anything to protect her back. What would you do if someone you cared about was taken away for protecting you? Would you fight for them or stay silent? The footage plays in silence. Dominic leans forward, hands flat on the desk, eyes locked on the screen, for camera angles, unedited, raw. He watches Marcus shove Rowan, watches Niel appear, watches her walk forward without hesitation, watches Marcus reach for her, watches her redirect his movement, watches him fall. He rewinds, plays it again, slower this time. Marcus's hand makes contact first. Niel's response is defensive, controlled, minimal force. She doesn't strike, doesn't attack, just moves. Marcus falls because he's off balance, because his momentum carries him down, because he expected her to freeze. She didn't freeze. Dominic pauses the footage, zooms in on her face. No rage, no fear, just focus. The same expression his son wears when he holds a stance for 3 minutes. Vaughn stands behind him, silent, waiting, his reflection visible in the dark monitor. Arms crossed, expression neutral. The man who solves problems before they become problems. The Chun family wants a formal apology, Vaughn says. They're threatening to pull their support from the expansion deal. Dominic doesn't respond. Marcus is claiming he was attacked without provocation. His father is demanding the girl be charged. Trespassing, assault. They want her gone. Still nothing. Vaughn moves closer. Sir, this is a delicate situation. The Chun family represents significant assets. Alienating them over a what? Dominic cuts in. Voice quiet, dangerous. Vaughn pauses, chooses his words carefully. Over a child who doesn't belong here. Dominic rewinds the footage again. Watches Marcus grab his son. Watches Rowan's face. Fear transforming into something else. Not courage, not yet, but the beginning of it. Then Niel appears, and everything changes. Where is she now? Dominic asks. Holding room on the second floor. I've already contacted. Who gave you permission to contact anyone? The question lands cold. Vaughn's shoulders stiffen. I assumed. Don't assume. Where's the grandmother? What? The girl's grandmother. Lorraine Brooks. Where is she? Vaughn's expression shifts. Caught. I sent someone to talk to her. Talk. Gather information. What kind of information? Background. Connections. Anything that might explain why the girl targeted your son. Dominic stands slowly, turns, faces Vaughn directly. Targeted, he repeats. You think a 10-year-old girl is running a con? I think someone is. The girl might just be the tool. Based on what evidence? Vaughn pulls out his phone, opens a file, slides it across the desk. The girl's mother died in a warehouse fire 7 years ago. The building was owned by KVR Holdings. Your company. The words hang in the air like smoke. Dominic picks up the phone, reads quickly. Date, location, victim name, Keisha Brooks. His chest tightens. The fire was ruled accidental. Vaughn continues. No investigation. You acquired the property 3 weeks later. Used it to expand distribution networks. The girl was 3 years old. Dominic sets the phone down carefully. His hands don't shake. His voice doesn't waver. But something inside him cracks. And you think she came here for revenge? At 10 years old. I think someone might be using her for revenge. Who? I'm still investigating. Dominic returns to the monitor, pulls up older footage. Nielle's first appearance 3 weeks ago. Watches her slip through the hedge. Watches her approach Rowan. No aggression, no manipulation, just a quiet offer to help. He cycles through days. Every morning, same routine. Teaching, correcting, encouraging. Nothing hidden, nothing calculated. She doesn't know, Dominic says quietly. Sir, she doesn't know who I am, what I did. She's just a kid helping another kid. You can't know that. I can see it. Vaughn moves closer. His voice drops, urgent, almost pleading. Sir, I've worked for you for 5 years. I've kept you safe, kept your son safe. I'm telling you this girl is a threat. Maybe not today, maybe not intentionally, but eventually. Eventually what? She teaches my son to stand up for himself? She gives him something I couldn't. The words come out harsher than intended. Vaughn goes quiet. Dominic pulls up the file again, stares at the name, Keisha Brooks, the warehouse address, the date. He remembers that acquisition, one of his earliest. The fire made it cheap. The owner desperate. Dominic bought it for nothing and flipped it for millions. He never asked what happened to the people inside. Never asked if anyone died. Never asked if anyone was left behind. Until now. His phone buzzes. Text from an unknown number. The grandmother is refusing to talk. Want me to apply pressure? Dominic's fingers tighten around the phone. Call them off, he says. Sir, I said call them off. Now. Vaughn hesitates. The information could be valuable. I don't care. Leave the grandmother alone. She might know. I said leave her alone. The shout echoes off glass walls. Vaughn goes still. In 5 years, Dominic has never raised his voice at him. Understood, Vaughn says quietly. He pulls out his phone, types quickly. It's done. Dominic turns back to the monitor, pulls up the courtyard footage again, watches Nielle position herself between his son and danger, watches her stay calm while boys twice her size try to intimidate her, watches her defend without attacking, watches her protect his son the way he should have been protecting him all along. Bring her to my office, Dominic says. Sir, the Chun family. I'll handle the Chin family. Bring me the girl. Vaughn doesn't move. And if she's dangerous? She's 10 years old. Age doesn't determine threat level. Dominic faces him fully. If you ever send someone to intimidate a child's grandmother again, you're done. Do you understand me? Vaughn's expression flattens. Professional. Cold. Perfectly. He leaves without another word. The door closes with a soft click that sounds like a promise. Dominic returns to his desk, opens a drawer, pulls out a folder he hasn't touched in 7 years. Property acquisitions, the Riverside warehouse, purchase documents, transfer records. Buried in the paperwork, a single-line notation. Building occupied at time of incident. 1 casualty reported. 1 casualty. He never read the name, never wanted to know. Now he does. Keisha Brooks, age 26, single mother. Worked night shift at a packaging facility 2 blocks away. Used the warehouse as a shortcut home. The fire started at 2:47 a.m. Electrical malfunction. No sprinklers, no exits, no chance. Dominic closes the folder. His empire was built on opportunities, on taking advantage when situations presented themselves, on moving fast while others hesitated. He never thought about the cost, never calculated what his success took from other people. Until a 10-year-old girl with bare feet and steady hands walked into his courtyard and taught his son something money couldn't buy: courage. Footsteps in the hallway. The door opens. Vaughn returns, alone. The girl is on her way, he says. The Chin family called again. They want an answer. Tell them I'm reviewing the situation. They won't accept that. Then tell them I don't care what they accept. Vaughn's jaw tightens. Sir, with respect. You keep saying with respect, like it softens what you're really saying. It doesn't. You think I'm making a mistake. You think I'm letting emotion cloud my judgment. You might be right. The admission hangs between them. But that girl didn't attack anyone, Dominic continues. She defended my son, and the Chun boy put his hands on her first. So whatever the Chin family wants, the answer is no. They'll retaliate. Let them try. Vaughn studies him, calculating, assessing. You're choosing the girl over a multi-million-dollar partnership. I'm choosing what's right. Since when do we care about right? The question cuts deep, accurate, cruel. Dominic doesn't answer, because the truth is he hasn't cared about right in a very long time. Hasn't had to. Right doesn't build empires. Right doesn't keep you alive in a world where everyone wants what you have. But watching his son stand taller because a girl with nothing chose to help him, watching that same girl get dragged away for protecting him, something shifted. Maybe too late, maybe not enough, but shifted. Bring her in, Dominic says. And Vaughn, sir, if you ever go behind my back again, I won't fire you. I'll make sure you never work in this industry again. Are we clear? Vaughn's expression doesn't change, but something cold flashes in his eyes. Crystal clear, he says. He leaves. The door closes. The office falls silent. Dominic sits at his desk, surrounded by glass and steel and the illusion of control, waiting to face the girl whose mother he killed without ever knowing her name. Do you think Dominic can make things right? Or is it already too late? Nielle's wrists hurt. The plastic restraints aren't tight enough to cut circulation but close. She sits in a leather chair that costs more than her grandmother's car. The room smells like expensive cologne and old paper. Dominic Kade sits across from her, hands folded on the desk, expression unreadable. This is Rowan's father, the powerful man everyone fears. He doesn't look that powerful right now, just tired. Do you know who I am? He asks. You're Rowan's dad. Do you know what I do? No, sir. He studies her face, looking for lies. She doesn't give him any. She genuinely doesn't know, never asked, never cared. Why did you help my son? Dominic asks. Because he needed help. That's not an answer. It's the only answer I have. Silence stretches between them. Outside, California hills bake under afternoon sun. Inside, air conditioning keeps everything cold. Dominic reaches for something on his desk. Folder. Opens it. Slides a photo across. A woman. Young. Smiling. Dark skin and bright eyes. Wearing scrubs. Nielle's breath stops. Do you know her? Dominic asks quietly. She can't speak. Can't move. can't do anything but stare at her mother's face. Her name was Keisha Brooks, Dominic continues. She died 7 years ago in a warehouse fire. The building was owned by one of my companies. The room tilts. Nielle's fingers dig into the chair arms. I didn't know she was there, Dominic says. Didn't know anyone was there. I bought the property after the fire, used it to expand my business. I never asked what happened to the people inside. Nielle's vision blurs. She blinks hard. Warriors don't cry. I'm telling you this because you deserve to know. Your mother's death helped build what I have now. And I never even knew her name until today. The words land like physical blows, each one precise, devastating. I'm sorry, Dominic says. It doesn't change anything, doesn't bring her back. But I'm sorry. Nielle finally finds her voice. Why are you telling me this? Because you protected my son. And I need to know if you came here for revenge. The question should make her angry, should make her scream, but she's too numb. I didn't know, she whispers. I didn't know who you were. I believe you. I just wanted to help Rowan. I know. He was scared, like I used to be, and nobody helped me, so I helped him. Dominic's expression cracks, just slightly. You're 10 years old. You shouldn't have to help anyone. You should be worried about school and friends and normal things. Normal isn't real. The statement hangs heavy. Truth neither of them can argue. Dominic stands, moves to the window, looks out at his kingdom of glass and money and choices that haunt him. The boy who pushed you, he says. His family wants you charged. They want you gone. They want me to choose between their support and you. Nielle's heart hammers. What did you choose? He turns, looks at her directly. You. She doesn't understand. Why? Because my son stood up for you, screamed at armed guards, ran through this house breaking every rule. He's never done that before, never fought for anything. You gave him that. I just taught him to stand. No, you taught him courage. That's worth more than any business deal. Dominic moves back to the desk, pulls out a knife. Nielle flinches. He pauses. I'm just cutting the restraints, he says gently. He does. The plastic falls away. Her wrists are red, not bleeding, just marked. You're free to go, Dominic says. But I'd like to make you an offer first. What kind of offer? I want to help you. You and your grandmother. A real home, not a trailer, not charity. Dignity. Nielle's throat tightens. Why? Because I owe your mother a debt I can never repay. The least I can do is take care of her daughter. You don't owe me anything. I owe you everything. You gave my son something I couldn't. You made him believe he's strong. Nielle looks down, at her hands, at the red marks on her wrists, at the floor that probably costs more than everything she owns. My grandmother won't take money from you, she says quietly. She's proud. She won't want help from the person who... She can't finish, can't say the words. I understand, Dominic says, but I'd like to try. Will you let me try? Nielle meets his eyes, sees something she didn't expect. Regret. Real. Raw. The kind that lives deep. Can I still train Rowan? She asks. Every day if you want. And you won't make me leave? Never. She nods slowly. Then okay. You can try. Dominic extends his hand. She stares at it. This hand that built empires, that made people disappear, that signed papers without reading names. She takes it. His grip is gentle, careful, like he's afraid she might break. Thank you, he says, for helping my son, for protecting him, for giving him something I couldn't. You're welcome. He releases her hand, moves to the door, opens it. Rowan is waiting outside. He's been there for 2 hours, refused to leave. Nielle steps into the hallway. Rowan sits on the floor, knees pulled to chest, eyes red. When he sees her, he scrambles to his feet. Nielle! She catches him as he crashes into her. His arms wrap tight. His whole body shakes. I thought they were going to make you leave, he says into her shoulder. I thought I'd never see you again. I'm not going anywhere. Promise. Promise. Dominic watches them. His son holding onto the girl who saved him. The girl whose mother he killed without knowing. The moment his past and present collide. Vaughn appears at the end of the hallway, sees the scene. His expression flattens. He turns and walks away without a word. Dominic makes a mental note. Vaughn will need to be dealt with. Not today, but soon, before his loyalty becomes liability. For now, he watches his son smile. Really smile. The kind that reaches his eyes and erases years of fear. Come on, Niall says to Rowan. Let's go outside. I'll show you that new move. They head toward the courtyard. Rowan talking fast, excited, describing what happened, how scared he was, how proud he is that she stayed calm. Dominic returns to his office, sits at his desk, opens his laptop, types quickly, an email to his lawyers, instructions to set up a trust, anonymous, untraceable, funds for housing, education, medical care, everything Niall and her grandmother need. Nothing they can refuse because they won't know where it came from. He hits send, then opens another file. Employee records. Vaughn Cross. 5 years of perfect service. 5 years of loyalty and efficiency and problem solving. 5 years of control masquerading as protection. Dominic starts a new document. Begins cataloging. Dates. Incidents. Decisions made without authorization. Lines crossed without permission. Evidence. Insurance. Preparation. Because men like Vaughn don't accept being overruled. They smile. They nod. They wait. And then they strike. His phone buzzes. The Chin family again. Demanding answers. Threatening consequences. Playing the game Dominic taught them. He types a simple response. The matter is closed. If that's unacceptable, find new partners. He hits send before he can reconsider. The phone rings immediately. He declines the call. Outside his window, Niall and Rowan move through stances in the courtyard. Slow, precise. Her voice carries through the glass. Breathe, control, stand. Rowan copies her. Better than yesterday, stronger than last week. Dominic watches until the sun starts setting, until the light turns everything gold, until his son looks like someone who could survive the world waiting for him. Then he closes the blinds, returns to his desk, begins planning the foundation he'll announce next week. The one that helps families displaced by fires, the one that investigates workplace safety, the one that makes sure no one else loses their mother to an accident that nobody investigates. Redemption won't erase the past, won't bring Keisha Brooks back, won't undo 7 years of Niall growing up without her mother. But it's a start. And for the first time in decades, starting feels possible. Can Dominic really change? Or will his past always catch up with him? The house on Maple Street has 3 bedrooms and a yard with real grass. Niall stands on the porch, hands in her pockets, staring at the door like it might disappear if she blinks. Her grandmother stands beside her, silent, suspicious. The social worker said it was a lottery, random selection, subsidized housing for families below the poverty line. Lorraine Brooks doesn't believe in lotteries. Not for people like them. Something's wrong with this, she says quietly. People don't just give houses away. Maybe we got lucky, Niall offers. We don't get lucky. We get by. But the keys are real. The paperwork legitimate. The property manager smiled and handed everything over without asking questions. Move-in ready. First year paid. Utilities included. Too good. Too clean. Too convenient. You know something about this? Lorraine asks. Niall keeps her eyes forward. No, ma'am. It's not technically a lie. She doesn't know for certain. Just suspects. Just connects dots between conversations she wasn't supposed to hear and changes that happened too fast. Dominic Kade keeps his promises, even the ones he doesn't say out loud. They move in that afternoon. 2 duffel bags and a plastic bin. Everything they own fits in the trunk of a borrowed car. The house swallows their belongings like stones in an ocean. Empty rooms echo. Clean walls wait for pictures. Kitchen cabinets hold nothing but potential. Lorraine cries in the bathroom. Quiet. Private. Niall hears through the walls anyway. Her grandmother hasn't cried in 7 years. Not since the funeral. Not since the day they buried Keisha and moved into a trailer held together by rust and hope. That night, Niall sleeps in a real bed. Not a cot. Not a couch. A bed with a frame and a mattress that doesn't smell like mold. She stares at the ceiling, counts cracks that aren't there, listens to silence that feels wrong because it's too safe. Morning comes with sunlight through actual windows. She walks to the estate, takes the bus this time. The driver doesn't ask questions. The route drops her 2 blocks away. She uses the front gate. The guard checks his list, nods, waves her through. Everything's different now. Official. Sanctioned. No more hiding. No more sneaking through hedge lines. It should feel like winning. Feels like losing something instead. Rowan waits in the courtyard, bouncing on his toes. Excited. You're here. I thought maybe you'd move far away and I wouldn't see you anymore. I'm not going anywhere, she says. They train for 2 hours. He's getting good. Holding stances longer. Breathing smoother. Moving with confidence that wasn't there a month ago. When they finish, Dominic appears. Dressed for work. Expensive suit. Phone in hand. But he stops. Makes time. How's the new place? He asks Niall. She knew. Knew he'd ask. Knew she'd have to decide whether to acknowledge or pretend. It's nice, she says carefully. Really nice. Good. You deserve nice. They look at each other. Understanding passing between them. Agreement without words. He helped. She knows. Neither of them will say it directly. Thank you, she says quietly. He nods. Take care of each other. Then he's gone. Back to meetings and phone calls and running an empire. Rowan looks between them, confused. What was that about? Nothing, Niall says. Come on, show me that stance again. Days pass. Then weeks. The new routine settles in. Bus ride. Training. Lunch with Rowan. More training. Bus ride home. Her grandmother finds work. Real work. Office cleaning downtown. Union job. Benefits. The kind of work that comes with dignity instead of desperation. Niall asks once how she found it. Lorraine's answer is vague. Someone recommended me. Said they needed reliable people. Someone. Always someone. Anonymous help that arrives exactly when needed. Niall doesn't push. Doesn't question. Just accepts that Dominic Kade's reach extends further than she understood. One morning, 3 men in suits arrive at the estate. She recognizes one. Marcus Chen's father. His face hard. His voice carrying across the courtyard. Security redirects them. Polite but firm. Mr. Kade isn't available. Tell him we're not leaving until he sees us. Mr. Kade said you're no longer welcome here. The words land like a verdict. Mr. Chen's face darkens. This isn't over. It is. Please leave the property. They leave. Slowly. Making sure everyone sees their displeasure. Making sure the message is clear. Dominic chose sides. Consequences will follow. Rowan watches from the window. Will they come back? Probably. Niall says honestly. Are you scared? No. Why not? Because your dad made a choice. He chose what's right over what's easy. Rowan thinks about this. Is that what warriors do? Sometimes. When it matters most. That afternoon, news breaks. Chun Pharmaceutical under investigation for distribution violations. Anonymous tip led to federal involvement. Assets frozen pending review. Niall doesn't need to guess who made the call. Dominic Kade doesn't make empty threats. He just makes problems disappear. A week later, Von Cross stops showing up to work. No announcement. No explanation. Just gone. New head of security hired. Younger. Less intense. Someone who asks permission instead of assuming authority. Niall asks Rowan about it. He shrugs. Dad said Vaughn found a better opportunity. Something about overseas work. Overseas. The kind of overseas that means permanent. The kind that happens when loyalty becomes liability. She doesn't feel bad for Vaughn, doesn't trust the story, but understands the message. Dominic protects what matters. And apparently she matters now. The foundation launches in October. Fire victims, displaced families, workplace safety advocacy, press coverage extensive. Photos of Dominic shaking hands, making speeches, promising change. Nielle watches from home. Her grandmother sits beside her, sees Dominic's face on TV, recognizes him from somewhere, can't place where. He looks familiar, Lorraine says. Maybe you've seen him around. Maybe. The connection stays buried. Some truths are better left unspoken. Some debts too complicated to name. Winter comes. Rowan's 9th birthday passes with a party that feels almost normal. Kids from school. Cake. Games. Laughter. Nielle attends as a guest. Not the help. Not the outsider. A friend. Rowan's changed. Not just physically. Everything about him. Stands straighter. Speaks clearer. Looks people in the eye. He's not fearless. Still gets nervous. Still worries. But doesn't freeze anymore. Doesn't collapse under pressure. During the party, Dominic pulls Nielle aside. You did this. You gave him confidence. He did it himself. I just showed him how. You gave him more than that. You gave him hope. The word sits heavy between them. Hope. The thing money can't buy. The thing power can't command. The thing that only comes from someone caring enough to help. I should go, Nielle says. My grandmother's expecting me. Nielle. She stops. Thank you, Dominic says, for everything. For seeing something in my son I couldn't see. For protecting him. For giving him a chance. You're welcome. She leaves before the conversation gets heavier. Before gratitude turns into something neither of them knows how to handle. The bus ride home is quiet. Street lights blur past. Other passengers lost in their own worlds. Nielle thinks about her mother, about the warehouse, about fire and accidents and choices that ripple through years. Dominic didn't know, didn't mean for it to happen, but it happened anyway, and Nielle's life changed forever. She could hate him, should hate him, would be justified, but hate doesn't change the past. Doesn't bring her mother back, doesn't help Rowan stand tall. So she chooses something else. Not forgiveness, not exactly, but acknowledgement, understanding, the recognition that people are complicated, that good and bad exist in the same person, that redemption is possible even when the debt can never be fully paid. At home, her grandmother has dinner ready. Real food, real plates, real table. They eat in comfortable silence. The TV plays news neither of them watch. The heater hums softly. Normal, safe, stable. The things Nielle never thought she'd have. You happy? Lorraine asks suddenly. The question catches her off guard. Yes, ma'am. I think so. Good. You deserve happy. They finish eating. Clean dishes together. Move through routines that feel like healing. That night, Nielle writes in her notebook. Not training notes. Not techniques. Just thoughts. Sometimes the person who hurt you becomes the person who helps you. Sometimes the past and present collide and create something new. Sometimes standing up for someone else teaches you how to stand up for yourself. Warriors aren't born. They're made. By choices. By courage. By deciding that freezing isn't an option. She closes the notebook. Turns off the light. Sleeps in a real bed in a real house in a life that shouldn't exist but does. Because a scared boy needed help, and a girl with nothing chose to give it. And a powerful man decided that money can't buy everything, but it can build something better. Should Nielle completely forgive Dominic? Or is some guilt meant to last forever? 6 months later, Dominic stands in the courtyard watching his son spar. Not with Nielle, with another kid from school. A friendly match, testing skills, building confidence. Rowan moves smoothly, defends well, doesn't panic when pushed, doesn't collapse when challenged. He loses the match, smiles anyway, shakes hands, learns from mistakes instead of drowning in them. Dominic's chest tightens with something unfamiliar. Pride, the real kind, not the empty satisfaction of watching numbers grow in accounts, but genuine pride in who his son is becoming. Niall sits on the fountain edge, feet dangling, watching with the careful attention of a teacher who's done her job well. She comes 3 times a week now, not every day, doesn't need to. Rowan trains independently, maintains discipline, stands on his own. The goal was always independence, not dependence. He's good, Dominic says, sitting beside her. He's great, Niall corrects. He just doesn't know it yet. You gave him that. He gave it to himself. I just pointed him in the right direction. They watch in comfortable silence, the kind that exists between people who've shared something meaningful without needing to dissect it constantly. How's school? Dominic asks. Good. Math is hard, but I'm keeping up. Your grandmother? Happy. She likes the new job, likes the house, likes feeling like things are stable. Good. That's good. More silence. Rowan laughs at something his sparring partner said. The sound carries across the courtyard. Light, easy, free. I did something, Dominic says carefully. Something I need to tell you about. Niall looks at him. Waits. I had the warehouse fire investigated. Properly this time. Found out the electrical system was faulty. The building owner should have fixed it. Didn't. Cut corners. Prioritized profit over safety. His throat tightens. Your mother's death was preventable. If I'd done my job, if I'd cared about people instead of just money, she'd still be alive. Niall doesn't respond immediately, just looks at the fountain, at the water reflecting sunlight. I can't forgive you for that, she says finally. Not yet. Maybe not ever. I understand. But I see what you're trying to do. The foundation, helping people, making sure it doesn't happen again. That matters. It doesn't bring her back. No, but it might save someone else's mother. Dominic nods. The weight on his chest doesn't lift, doesn't get lighter, just becomes something he learns to carry. I'm going to keep trying, he says, to do better, to be better, not because it fixes anything, but because it's the only choice I can make now. That's all anyone can do, Niall says. Make better choices today than yesterday. Rowan jogs over, sweating, grinning. Did you see that? I held my ground for like 2 minutes straight. I saw, Niall says. You're getting strong. Because you taught me. I just showed you the tools. You did the work. He looks at his father. Did you see, Dad? I saw. You were impressive. The word, impressive, lands differently than expected. Rowan's face lights up, not because he needs approval, but because receiving it matters when it's genuine. Want to go again? His sparring partner calls. Yeah. Rowan runs back, resets, continues training. Dominic watches, sees his son stumble, get up, try again, improve, sees the lesson Niall taught extending beyond physical training, beyond stances and breathing and not freezing, into life, into resilience, into becoming someone who doesn't quit when things get hard. Thank you, Dominic says quietly, for not giving up on him, on us. You're welcome. Niall stands, brushes off her jeans. I should head home. Homework. Need a ride. I'm good. Bus is fine. She waves to Rowan. He waves back. She leaves through the front gate. Official. Welcome. No longer sneaking through hedge lines. Dominic stays in the courtyard. Phone buzzing with messages he ignores. Business that can wait. Deals that will still be there tomorrow. For now, he just watches his son. Sees the transformation, the confidence, the strength. Sees what love looks like when it's not expressed through money but through presence. Through showing up. Through choosing what matters over what's profitable. His empire still stands. Money still grows. Power still exists. But the foundation shifted. The priorities reordered. The definition of success changed. That evening, he joins Rowan for dinner. Actually sits, actually talks, actually listens. "What was your favorite part of today?" Dominic asks. Rowan thinks. "When I didn't give up, even after losing, I just kept going. That's a good feeling." "Yeah." Niall says warriors stay standing, even when everything tells them to quit. Dominic sets down his fork. "She's right. About that and a lot of things." "Dad." "Yeah. Are you okay?" The question catches him off guard. His son, asking about him, noticing, caring. "I'm getting there," Dominic says honestly. "Some days are harder than others, but I'm trying. That's all anyone can do, right? Try." Dominic smiles. "When did you get so wise?" Niall says wisdom comes from standing up after falling down. "So I guess I'm getting wiser." They finish dinner, clean up together, move through routines that feel normal in the best way. That night, Dominic doesn't work late, doesn't pour whiskey he won't drink, doesn't stand in glass corridors watching security monitors. He reads, relaxes, exists as a person instead of a position. The change isn't dramatic, isn't instant, but it's real. Weeks pass, then months. The foundation expands. More families helped. More investigations launched. More accountability demanded. Opposition exists. Powerful people pushed back. Threats made. Pressure applied. Dominic stands firm. Because some things matter more than maintaining alliances. Some choices define who you are more than what you own. Rowan continues training, continues growing, continues becoming someone who doesn't need fear to motivate him or power to protect him. Niall continues visiting, continues teaching, continues being proof that the smallest person can create the biggest change. And Dominic continues learning that redemption isn't a destination, it's a direction, a daily choice to do better, to be better, to acknowledge the past while building something different for the future. One afternoon, a package arrives. No return address, just a note from someone who believes in second chances. Inside, a photo, his son, smiling, standing tall, looking like he could face anything. Dominic frames it, hangs it in his office, where he can see it every day, where it reminds him what matters. Not empires, not power, not money, people, connection, the choice to protect instead of profit, the decision to stand for something instead of just standing on top of something. He'll never undo the past, never bring back Keisha Brooks, never erase the choices that built his empire on other people's tragedies. But he can choose differently now, can use his power to prevent instead of exploit, can build something that helps instead of just takes. It's not enough, will never be enough, but it's something, and something is better than nothing. The sun sets over California hills. Glass walls reflect golden light. The estate sits quiet, peaceful, no longer a fortress, just a home. In the courtyard, Rowan practices alone. Niall's voice echoes in his movements, her lessons embedded in his muscle memory, her courage inspiring his own. Dominic watches from the window, sees his son, sees the future, sees possibility, and for the first time in decades, feels hope. Because sometimes the smallest warrior walks into your life and teaches you the greatest lesson. That power without purpose is just noise. That money without meaning is just numbers. That control without compassion is just cruelty. And sometimes redemption begins with a child brave enough to stand when everyone else stays silent. With a father learning to kneel before standing back up. With choices made today that can't fix yesterday but can build tomorrow. The war isn't over. Enemies exist. Consequences loom. The world Dominic built doesn't forgive easily. But he's ready now. Ready to fight for what matters. Ready to protect what's important. Ready to prove that change is possible even when the debt can never be fully paid. Because his son taught him courage. And a 10-year-old girl taught him grace. And together they taught him something money could never buy. How to be human again. That's where the real story begins. not in the empire, not in the power, but in the choice to use both for something better than just accumulation. The choice to stand, to protect, to change. The choice to become someone worth becoming. And in Dominic Kade's world, where protecting one child has made him many enemies, that choice will be tested every single day. But he's ready, because warriors stay standing, even when everything tells them to quit, especially then. What do you think happens next in this journey of redemption? Can Dominic truly escape his past, or will his enemies force him to choose between his old life and his new values? Share your thoughts in the comments below and inspire others with your perspective. If the story moved you, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next chapter in Stories That Inspire. Your support helps us bring more powerful narratives to life. Hit that subscribe button and let's continue this journey together.